the Menstrual Hygiene Month, which will be marking on the 28th. Come the 28th, we'll be celebrating the World Menstrual Hygiene Day. So before we get to that day, what do we need to know when it comes to menstrual hygiene, especially for our young girls who are just getting to that puberty state? They do not understand what goes into, menstrual hygiene and all that, and of course the challenges that come along with menses as well. So if you'd like to be part of this discussion, please feel free to do so. The hashtag we are using on Twitter still remains hashtag Good Morning Kenya. At KBC Channel 1 is our official station handle, at KBC Television as well. You can also tag me on those questions or comments or clarifications that you may be having. My handle is at Jane Womboy. Now, to help me with this discussion in studio, we have three ladies. I'll start with my extreme left. She is Roysa Kerry from Real Relief Safe Pad Kenya. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
At the center, we have Osuba Aidan Hussein. She is a health promotion officer from Garissa, the sub-county in Garissa. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
And to my immediate left, we have Umulkhair Haroon. She is from Kesho Alliance Organization. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
So we just want to have a very candid, very open discussion about menstrual health, that, to just try and demystify all these misconceptions that are out there when it comes to menstrual health as a whole for our girls, of course, as we build towards the World Menstrual Day. Now, we'll just start by trying to help our viewers, and even our gentlemen out there, understand what a menstrual cycle is, what it entails, and the challenges that come along with having menses for our young girls. So maybe I can start with, Roysa, from your point of view, briefly just try and help our viewers understand what a menstrual cycle is like.
A menstrual cycle is a whole process, like from the time the girl starts feeling that she has the cramp, the menses, and the whole, until the time she needs to use the product. Maybe if I can talk about menstrual hygiene management, because menstrual cycle is broad. Menstrual hygiene management is a process from the time the lady starts receiving a menstruation, the product she uses, up to the safe disposal of this menstrual product. So menstrual hygiene means safe and hygienic managing menstruation.
All right. Yeah. And maybe, Osuba, you could also tell us a bit about your understanding about menses and in the cycle and hygiene as a whole.
Thank you very much. As my colleague said, menses is a whole process. It's the time the lady experience the first day until the disposal time. And if I talk about the challenges, there are some challenges. Maybe the lady does not know how to dispose these things. Maybe it's her first time. So she needs thorough education on how to use the pad and how to dispose.
Okay. Now, at what age do most of our girls, should expect their menses? And, at what age do you feel we need to start talking to them about what to expect in terms of their menses? At what age do you feel is most appropriate?
From 9 to 12.
Just hold the mic at the center.
From 9 to 12.
From the age of
From
9,
the age of
9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
We need to start having these conversations with our daughters.
Yes.
But, there's this cultural disposition and these cultural taboos that, we are not as open with our children when it comes to these talks. And it's a big challenge when it comes to, just opening up with our daughters. What do you make of all these, limitations that are there in society when it comes to talking with our daughters about such?
Okay, the taboos vary for different communities. There are communities that are more, close cultured than others. So I think these are things we should just break down by increasing the levels of advocacy, the empowerment, the kind of education you're even giving our children. And our children does not mean you just focus on one particular gender, which is what most of the groups of advocacies do. They focus on the girl child. But once you leave the boy child behind, and that is where the biggest intimidation group come from. If you find a girl in class 4 who started her menses, then her deskmate who's a boy is not really informed, and they have not reached class 6 where they get to understand that this is a normal thing for every girl. So that girl will shy off and will not know how to go about her menstrual health and her menstrual hygiene. So I think for taboos, we should empower both the male, female, the parents at home. We should sensitize each and everyone on that, and then know how to handle every community differently. counties like Nairobi might not shy off from such because, you know, they are more informed. But if you go to the rural groups, come to Garissa, maybe a far place like Balambala, Ijara, those are places they don't even know or cannot talk about these things. So for different counties and different areas, you give them different attention. You know how to weigh your options. What and how can you break down this information to these groups, the Maasai, the Samburu? Yeah.
So we need to talk both to the girls and the young
Yes.
boy so that they can understand what the other person is going through and to just avoid that whole phase of discrimination, ridicule that comes with it.
Yes.
Now let's just quickly go to the challenges that, you know, come along with menses due to the benefit of time. The biggest challenge that, you know, we have, especially in the rural areas, as you put it, is, you know, access to these sanitary towels and materials that you may need during your menses. And there was a report that I saw that about 65% of low-income women and girls do not have access to such. What do you have to say from your point of view in Garissa County? Is this actually a reality?
It's a reality. And maybe most of the ladies are from a poor family. They can't provide, they can't buy these pads from a shop. So the challenge they have is maybe they'll become a dropout when they see this first menstrual period in a school. They have that stigma because boys are not educated, as my colleague said.
So they make fun of them?
They make fun of them. Maybe the lady gets period in school. Her partner is a boy with her. He sees these periods, he laughs at her, he involves other children. Due to that, that lady can be a dropout from that school simply because she's that she is shamed and she has that stigma in her head. The other issue is maybe where she is from, she doesn't have even a daily income where she can even get meals. So getting a pad from a shop is a problem. So because of poor income, she can even have that problem of not going to school.
And it's such a big problem.
It's such a big problem in
the
everywhere.
attention it deserves.
Yeah.
Especially in the rural setups. Away from the big cities.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of, you know, having talks and discussions with our children about how to go about their hygiene during this period, who do you think is best positioned to do this? Is it the parent or the teacher? Because you find at home, the parent wants the teacher to talk about this with the child. And at school, the teacher expects the parent to talk about this with their child. So who is best positioned to talk about menstrual hygiene with the child?
When it comes to information and talking about menstruation, I think we need inclusion. Everybody should take responsibilities. At school, the school should be having like a topic on menstruation, and the kids should know, like, when I grow up, these are the changes that are happening to my body. Like when I have my menses, I need to take a bath, I need to wash my hands, I need to change the product. The boys as well need the information. And back at home, most parents don't talk to their kids about menses, which is really a big mistake they're making, because these kids, they need this information. So parents should talk to their kids about menstruation so that we can break the silence. In church level as well, the church leaders should take lead. So everybody should be involved, because you find like mostly the parents leave their role to the teachers. School level, the teachers, like, they're targeting to cover the curriculum. So if they're talking about reproductive health, they don't talk about menses. So they just specifically talk about like this period, like a lady can get pregnant. If she doesn't get pregnant, she's getting the menses. So we need to talk holistically about menstruation. Parents should talk to their kids. And most of these parents, because of the stigma and the taboos surrounding menstruation, they don't want to talk about it. They don't know even how the products look like. So from my point of view, everybody should be on board, and then we need to end the stigma and the taboos surrounding menstruation.
Okay. And even as you try to talk to our children about, you know, menses and what comes along with it, do we understand the child-friendly language that we need to employ to make our children understand? Or just as she's saying, you know, we're just in class using kawaida language, try to tell them something so complex that they need better understanding. Do you feel the way we talk to them also is a problem?
Yeah, certainly, because that, you know, as I said, every topic needs to be handled with different weight.
Yeah.
So when you come to a society, we are Africans. There are things we don't, you know, go openly about, such as these topics, and then come down to how our communities are, you know, programmed
them,
and
yeah.
how we operate. So the language matters a lot, and I always insist on the education system incorporating these topics into our syllabuses and not waiting for up to, you know, when you reach class 6 is when we start talking about this with our science teacher, who most likely is a male and would not, you know, go beyond what he's mandated to do in a classroom. So I think we should adopt simple languages, you know, in form of cartoon books, things that, you know, can break down the messages in a very soft and acceptable way. The children can understand. They can openly carry it home. Their parents might come across it. They might say, okay, this is what you're learning. Come, sit down. I can tell you 1, 2, 3 about. So you realize that this information is being passed as early as age 9, age 7, which is the right age. So that by the time you're 14, you're fully informed. Both you and your classmate who's a boy, your parents are comfortable enough talking about these issues with you, and it won't lead to future problems. You know, like now shying away from this and not asking for the products openly, and then you might look for other unhealthy ways of addressing you.
Which is one of the challenges that we'll be getting to. But let me hear from you, Suba. Do you feel the way we talk to our children about menstrual hygiene is a problem in itself? You know, just building to the problem that we don't talk to them.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a
Just
really
pull the
problem.
mic closer.
It's a really problem.
Yeah.
First, it depends on how you talk to your child. And I believe it's the mother who can be the best teacher to educate her daughter.
Mother.
Yeah, the mother.
Okay.
Apart being going to the school, it should start from home. If the mother educates her daughter about how when she gets menstrual period, she should do this in a soft manner way, the lady will adapt that. Your house have. But you know, if you try to talk to your daughter in a harsh way, she will even fear to come and tell you that when she gets a menstrual, because she knows that when she gets and go to tell her mom, at the end of the day, the mother will be very harsh to her. So I believe, and it is true, the way you talk to your child matters on how your child will handle the issue. Yeah.
All right.
From the mother, it is the teachers. Come to school, it is the teachers to educate these girls on how to care about on menstrual. The other people who are supposed to educate is Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education. There should be a regular health education going on schools. Yeah, on topics like menstrual hygiene,
and the changes that come along with puberty.
Even the good hygiene.
Sexual reproductive
health. Because this lady, maybe she got the period, she doesn't know even how to change the pad, the hours she's supposed to have that pad with her. You know, there's a certain hours she should keep that pad. How to dispose of, where to dispose. If she has all that knowledge from Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, teachers, parents, collaboration with everybody, that lady will have that self-confidence. When she gets the period, she can dispose everything for herself. Without any fear, without any stigma, she can have that confidence with herself.
And you know, it's a time where there's so many hormonal changes that you are going through, and then you do not have, as a child, you do not have somebody who you can confidently talk about the changes that you're going through, especially a girl, when you have seeing all these physical changes, your breasts are protruding, you get your menses, your voice softens, and you don't have somebody who can help you understand these changes. It's one of the biggest challenges that we are seeing when it comes to sexual reproductive health here in Kenya. Now, there was also a research that I saw that, you know, we've talked about, you know, access to these materials for sanitary hygiene being a challenge. Talking about them is a challenge, and now even when you have access to them, somewhere to change is also a challenge, especially in the rural setup. What is the situation as of now? Let me hear from you, Aiden. In terms of having decent places to be able to change these pads or tampons or cups that are available. Yeah,
it is true. In every school, there is no proper place where the lady can change. The only place they have maybe is the toilet, which will not be very convenient for changing. So she will have that fear, but if she goes to the toilet, maybe somebody else will come. This is not a private, this is a communal toilet. Every child will come. So it could have been very advisable if schools could have been, if they could be a separate place for changing the pads for their privacy. when they feel like they want to go and put another pad, they get that privacy. When they want to change the pad, they have that privacy. So always, I believe if there is that privacy, it can continue well.
Now, Roysa, even in terms of hygiene, how far does, having a decent place to change your pad goes in just trying to even to keep you healthy as a person?
Yeah, basically, we need like to advocate for wash facilities that are like girls friendly and boys friendly. Talk like if we have those latrines, the toilets, they should be having like a running water tap. When a girl has changed her pad, she need to wash her hand. She need a bin. They need a soap there. And then we need like persons with disability. We need disability friendly wash facilities so that somebody can walk in with a wheelchair, they can have a mirror, they can see have I soiled my dress or not. So in our schools and the community we are lacking those facilities, but I'd like to call like partners who are working this water sanitation and hygiene from the Minister of Education, Health, Environment. We need to advocate the wash facilities that are friendly to menstruating girls. Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we even go to further into this conversation, I had mentioned to you earlier before we started this conversation that I shared with somebody I'm going to be having this interview, and they told me to ask, our panelists, why is it that we have so many readily available free condoms as opposed to, sanitary towels that our girls can use? Because there was a report that I came across that, 2 out of 3 ladies or young girls access pads through sexual partners.
Yes.
Yeah,
You agree with that statement?
We do.
I think because men are using condom, if men were menstruating, we'd be having a solution like these free sanitary towels.
And they would be everywhere.
Yeah, and they would be everywhere.
So it's more of gender biasness in this case.
Because even the concept behind condoms is to prevent STIs and HIVs. But once a girl engages in the transactional relationships, which is sex for pads, then she's at a high risk of getting the HIV herself. So why not ensure that she has secure products and make it free? At least I would say sex is an option. But pads are not. Pads are menstruation is something that is with you every other month. Why not put it in the same washrooms where these girls can access and get it for free? And that would even reduce the rate of teen pregnancies, HIV infections. Because if you look at counties like Kilifi and Malindi and the coastal counties, the rate of teen pregnancies are high. And this is due to transactional relationships. Come to these sides of Western and the Nyanza province. Most of the girls are suffering from HIV, and that's from as low as age 14 to 24. What is causing this? And this is due to the lack of these products. They are not available. The government has passed a policy, yes, they should be free. They should be offered for free in all schools, but they're not consistent. And once you get the product, they're not sustainable. You give the pad once, that's it. We might not see you again for another 2 or 3 months. What might have transpired between those periods that you are not with me?
So the bill did come into power, but it's not being implemented as such in most of the schools.
Implementation for all policies is a problem. Policies are many. Every day we are drafting policies. We are calling stakeholders. People are giving us good solutions, but nothing is being done.
So it's a very sporadic situation where you see them this month, you'll see them again next term, and they only offer one packet.
Also, maybe I can say like, you see, menstruation is a biological process that we can't go without. But something like sex, you can say like, I can have sex or not. Even if you see the cost of condoms, it's very cheap, 10 bob. But if somebody is buying the parts, always
the
goes
cheapest
at
you can get is at least 50 bob.
And that is not even quality.
So for me, I think like men now need to take lead on the menstrual matters so that we can have a solution, because I think they're the one who are hindering us from having the free products.
I always say for every policy or everything to be accepted, we have to put men at the front, because we can't run away from the fact that we are a patriarchal society. If we make them own these policies, then implementation would be easy, because it will be something that has come from them. I'm not attacking anyone, but that's just the reality at ground. Because these are things that you have to involve everyone, especially on menstrual health. How do you ensure that you have a nation that is healthy if the highest percentage, which is women, are being affected due to lack of these products? And where are we headed?
Yeah.
And you know, also,
And the fact remains that,
just speaking to the mic.
and it is always important
Yeah.
when this menstrual hygiene education is done,
Yeah.
the involvement of men should be also there.
It should be prioritized.
Yeah, it should be part of them because they should also get the knowledge, the importance of this thing, so that at the end of everything, they are also part to these issues. Yeah, and they can even educate their girls. Not only the mother to educate, but if the father himself have that knowledge, that he can also educate the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just to add on to this issue of, you know, having transactional relationships to be able to access pads, still in the rural setup, 1 out of every 4 girls does not associate their menses with pregnancy. As a result, you know, as a whole question of the lack of information that is there, that is being taken advantage of. So when it comes to just sharing information, especially on a public platform, what more do you feel needs to be done towards this and to just create that, at least a sense of awareness among our girls to try and understand what, you know, sexuality is all about?
Yeah. I think what we need to have is like holistically we train on menstrual hygiene management, and then we talk about the changes the girls undergo, the boys undergo these changes, and we have like teenage pregnancy issues, sexual reproductive health, puberty education, so that we can have all these girls talking about the challenges they are facing. And also we need to break the stigma surrounding menstruation, because normally it's seen as dirty. And we need like to change that misconception. Menstruation is a normal blood, not dirty, because everybody came from there. If your mother wasn't menstruating, maybe you could have not been there.
Yeah.
So what we do, basically we need to do a lot of advocacy. We end the stigma on menstruation, and then we bring men on board. We bring all the boys and persons with disabilities, or everybody, like all partners should be involved in breaking the silence. And education is the key in everything, because yes, you can have product, but you lack information. What are you going to do? So we need to have a lot of information, a lot of advocacy and education, and then we need to own menstruation.
We need to even teach our girls how to use the pad in itself. All right, and there's someone here was asking, kindly elaborate on the point of, you know, a patriarchal society hindering, you know, menstrual hygiene education.
Policy which is
We need a
because
policy.
yeah, if you look at even the setup of parliament, we don't have the 2/3 representation.
Yeah.
And so when policies and bills are being approved, they might be shot down because the majority are men.
And
They're
they
not
don't
really
fully
familiar
understand.
with what is going on here.
Yeah.
But if you had the men involved in the menstrual hygiene topic, we would have friendly policies on menstrual health, menstrual hygiene, and we might even be having better products that can be out there, which are approved for sale.
Okay.
And this is why I say every policy, we have to put men at the front. And how do you ensure they're there? Inform them, educate them. We
Involve
put more
them.
advocacy. And also let them do their own research. What is good for the girls that I represent in my constituency? Yeah.
Okay, and now to just go to, you know, some of the enabling situations or environment that can be put in place to just help these girls better navigate, you know, this menstrual period, to not miss school, because that is one of the biggest disadvantages that our girls are facing, missing school on a monthly basis because of your menses. Now, when it comes to the whole issue of cost effectiveness, what more do you feel needs to be done to just help, you know, bring down this cost, to make sanitary towels at least readily available to almost every young girl out there? Let me hear from you, Suba.
Thank you very much. It could have been very easy for these parts, as the government has started this thing for free. It could have been better so that it continues every month, given every month, because maybe you give this lady this party this month, and remember, she's not the only one at home who will be menstruating. Maybe her mother, her younger sisters. So for this exercise to be very effective and very continuous, the government should implement this in monthly basis, or after every 2 months, the ladies should be given with a lot of awareness, with a lot of community sensitization. Even the community must be sensitized. This thing is normal for ladies, and it starts from this period up to this period. If the community knows that, and the lady is given good health education, together with the male, I think everything will be very easy for the lady.
All right.
Yeah.
You'd like to add on to that?
Yeah, also I'm thinking like we need to have like pad dispensers in schools
Mm-hmm.
and maybe in workplaces where girls and women can get access to the menstrual products. And let's not forget that these girls, they don't only lack the pads, they don't have even panties, you see. And then I'd like to advocate for sustainability in menstrual hygiene, where I'd like to talk about the reusables, because we are giving the disposable just a one-time use. If these girls can have
It's
the
not a long-term
reusable-
solution.
Yeah, it's not a long-term. Yeah, if these girls can have the reusable, it's more sustainable. It has a long-term solution. And also, like communities can even be trained on how to make these sanitary towels. And also, I'd like to advocate like for sanitation shops at the community level. If the school doesn't have money to procure, if the girls don't have the money to procure, they can have that shop where they can get this part and they can pay polypol and finally they clear their bills. So that will have accessibility and affordability of the product.
Are there any, homemade alternatives that can be put in place to just help, in a situation where you really are not able to access a shop or free pads anywhere? What are some of the home alternatives that you feel can be able to just help a girl just go through this period comfortably and safely? Let me hear from you.
I would call on to the support of the reusable sanitary towels.
Back to the
because
reusables,
as Kerry said, you can make them at home. And once you bring the product down to community level, you're not only improving the menstrual health hygiene and menstrual health issues, but you're also ensuring women empowerment. And that's a source of economic empowerment for these women. So if I can get my product from the next door neighbor, and this is something I would urge the government to come on board and support stakeholders that are calling on for the reusable sanitary towels, because it's not only sustainable, it's also environment friendly. The disposables are plastic, they're not biodegradable, you throw them in the latrines, you block your latrines. So if the government could ensure that the free sanitary towel is a reusable sanitary towel, and you bring them down to community level, and we have the big four, which is production. This can be part of the manufacturing because these are things that can be manufactured at our own industries. You bring them down to the community level because the mandate now falls under the first ladies. You ensure that they're training women in the community to make them from their own homes. So if today I have my period randomly, I can run to my neighbor and she can give me the product. Make sure that it's accessible and sustainable.
To avoid seclusion.
And also if the schools can have the sanitation shops, they know these
within the
girls
schools.
they don't have the pads. The girls can access this product, they have the panties, and then parents, they can pay slowly until they clear their bill.
And not just give out free, ensure that it comes with the dignity kit. You give out the soap, you give out the panties, because the lack of these other extra support materials are causing people to go into this transactional relationship. You've given me a free pad, so what? Where is my panty? Now I need money to buy this product because it's not cheap.
So in essence, there should be like a kit.
Yeah, it should be a dignity kit.
Soap,
pad, the pad, and the innerwear.
And the innerwear, at least the basics.
And also a kit for boys for inclusion, because boys need to be on board. They need to understand why girls menstruate. The kit for boys as well can be having like a boxer, a vest, and soap.
All right. Now, Osuba, as you wind the conversation, in terms of awareness and advocacy, what do you feel needs to be done, especially in our rural setups, to try and bring this awareness and sense of education and information to just try and bring this change that we want to see when it comes to how we look at and address menstrual hygiene and even sexuality as a whole?
Well, going to schools is the basic issue. For this person, for this lady to get the knowledge and to be health educated, it should be a continuous process. It's not. It should not be something done one day then left. This thing should be a process, a continuous process, whereby Ministry of Health Department and the Ministry of Education collaborates together, and they go do thorough awareness.
All right. So they really need to go to schools.
To schools.
And not just once.
Not once. Regularly, yeah.
All right.
And this is whereby they do one-to-one, face-to-face.
Open conversation.
Open conversation.
Okay.
Maybe when you ask the lady a question in front of the boys, she will never tell you the answer.
That is true.
But if you make
that to be a privacy and the continuous talking to the lady, she will be exposed. And she will even come tell you why sometimes when she gets period she doesn't come to school.
Okay.
No, it will be, I could have advocated for continuous health education and awareness.
All right.
Yeah.
Raisa, just very briefly, what would be your suggestions towards, sanitary hygiene, since it's your docket? Very briefly.
I'd like to call like for all partners to come on board, and then we create safe spaces for all girls and boys, and then we have safe environment during menstruation, and we need a budget for this and a lot of advocacy.
To keep it as a long-term project for our girls.
And for long-term, for sustainability, I still advocate for the reusables.
Reusable pads. All right. Khair, your, in terms of solutions and suggestions towards, finding a means to this, what would you suggest, just very briefly?
Because I come from the NGO department, I would maybe call for stakeholders, both the government, the non-governmental, the schools, everyone to come on board, increase sensitization, empowerment for both genders, and also have friendly policies, policies that are supportive of this product, so that we can have the reusables right at our shops, so that we can easily access these products, ensure that they're friendly policies around the menstrual health and hygiene issues.
So we really need to go hard when it comes to awareness and talking to our young and even the grown-ups as well, because they're
empowerment,
our parents who do not understand what it's all about, accessibility to all these materials that we need during this period of our month. All right, well, we have been talking about menstrual hygiene and how we can go about just making our girls feel more comfortable, do not have to feel insecure, do not have to miss school, and feel normal, because it is a very normal physiological phenomenon. It is part of being a girl. So we're just trying to help drive this conversation forward to create awareness where it is lacking. With me in studio, we have been, let me start to the extreme left. She is Roysa Carey from SafePad Kenya, all about real relief, heavily advocating for reusable pads. Thank you so much for coming through. At the center, we have Osuba Aidan Hussein. She is a health promotion officer from Garissa County. Thank you so much. And of course, to my immediate left, she is Khair Haroon from Kesho Alliance Organization, just coming in studio to just help us better understand all about menstrual health hygiene. And remember, on the 28th of May, we will be marking the World Menstrual Hygiene Day. And the theme for this year is empowerment. And the slogan that is being that comes along with it is no more limits. Let's empower women and girls through good. So do good to try and help that woman, that daughter, that sister, that cousin, or even wife that you are with, during this time. Help them feel better, help them feel comfortable by learning, especially you as a man. You might find yourself in a situation where you have to help your best significant other or your daughter to just go about this time of the month. You need to be able to you need to be informed to be in a position to help them come the time. Well, we do hope you can keep following this conversation. You can also talk to us in regards to, any questions or clarifications or feedback that you may be having in regards to menstruation. But with that, we want to call it a day here in studio. It is 10:01. But thank you so much for being part of Good Morning Kenya. Be sure to join us again tomorrow morning right here from 6 a.m. all through to 10 a.m. for nothing but the best of breakfast shows. My name is Jen Wamboy. Do enjoy the rest of your day and have a lovely rest of your day. God bless.